As educators, it should go without saying that our primary focus is always student-centered and centered on student success. As a school, we are scrutinized on students' test scores, are mandated to maintain annual yearly progress, and ensure curriculum alignment to state standards. Reflexes leaders know that instruction, teaching, and learning are the critical components of success for all students. They develop teams and teacher groups to analyze this data. They set high expectations for student achievement and monitor staff and students' progress towards these goals. Reflexes leaders reflexively know what this entails and create the possibility that not only sets the expectation, but also develops the support for continual professional learning for all staff members. They also know that just setting expectations and waiting for the attainment does not necessarily directly correlate to student success. They habitually set measurable milestones and check frequently for clarity and accuracy of understanding. They expect and model good teaching techniques and with staff collaboratively design models of quality student work. The Reflexes leader continuous message is about the whole school as a learning community and why it should be the focus. The Reflexes leader offers and provides instructional support and leadership. In a recent study, 3 key elements were identified by teachers as important ways school leaders provide instructional support. Encouraging teacher collaboration, providing more time for teacher planning, and emphasize the value of research-based strategies and how to apply them effectively to their own school. If you noticed, we've already addressed 2 of the 3 teacher-identified indicators. Through collegiality, collaboration, and the other components of reflective leadership, the emphasis is always on the enhancement of the craft of teaching and the focus on student learning and success. I'm sure all good school leaders emphasize the value of research-based strategies and how to apply them effectively in their schools. However, emphasizing and telling teachers to apply them to the classroom may not be enough. Remember, the why and how must be explained, modeled, and revisited and reinforced to affect any change in the school culture. And although there are many different ways for school leaders to teach best practices, workshops, trainings, seminars, and books, these techniques must resound with the audience and become embedded in what the school does so it will be effectively used in the teacher's classroom. Remember we discussed, I think, therefore I do. Reflexes leaders are the principal teacher for their schools. Ever wonder where that term principal came from? They instruct staff not only on why research-based strategies are important, but also with a clarity of understanding how to best implement them for student success. Now, that's not to imply The leader must know all the techniques, pedagogy, and methodology for every subject and every grade level in their school. What Reflexus leaders instinctively know, and as previously discussed, collegiality and collaboration amongst staff makes this one of the possibilities to the situation. Another technique I like to use is something I call the master's defense. I had regularly scheduled meetings with teachers. It was an opportunity for them to share their successes and struggles in the class and for me to offer praise, support, and if needed, resources. During one of these meetings, I asked them either to bring a lesson plan or explain to me a lesson they had already taught. And like a master's thesis defense review, the teacher would defend the lesson with the intent of improving the subsequent lesson. How did the lesson address the needs of your three strongest and your three weakest students in your class? What would you do differently the next time you teach this lesson? Why? What are the indicators that students learn the essential components of the lesson? What type of assessment tool could you create that would help you teach these concepts? As you can see, this type of questioning focused on the expectations of learning. And it becomes collaborative because my role was to offer support to strengthen their defense. The teachers very quickly became very adept at including the four components in their planning. Because Reflexus leadership begins with ourselves, we must develop our own personal learning plan. This is different than the end of the year reflection or the school plan written annually for the district. This plan is a reflective journal where you examine personal strengths, areas for improvement, success, and setbacks. Although personal learning plans are used in a variety of professions, when incorporated into Reflexus leadership, it allows for the practice of the 5 whys and the setting of goals and actions, the why not, and the looking for panoramic views. It's a 180-degree look at who you are, reflecting where you are, but helping you create the plan or energy to move forward, keeping focus on your legacy and vision. Let's look at the personal learning plan, the traffic light legacy. I adapted the traffic light legacy from a technique I learned during my brief stint as a real estate agent. You know, I had to learn that familiar elevator pitch. The 1 minute time frame you're given to convince a client to use you to sell their house. 1 minute didn't seem like enough time to me ever, so I used the interminably long, about 2.5 minute traffic light on Merrick Road as my timer. So, in 2.5 minutes, can you give a clear and accurate description of the legacy you want to leave your school this year? As reflexive leaders, our expectations for ourselves are synced with those we have for other people in our learning community. We use this habit of mind, the personal learning plan, so we can be available to others as a resource and support. We now come to the final step. At step 13, all we have learned is incorporated into a seemingly effortless ability to lead with confidence, to bend backward and see the I in leadership and the us in reflexes.